Hello and welcome to Tech Observer webinar on reimagining modernization and digital transformation of policing in association with VMware. First of all, thank you for taking out your valuable time and joining us today for this special webinar. Today's topic is very apt for the situation that we are living in. With growing protests, demonstrations, and agitations across the world, police officials' responsibility and the challenges that they are facing every day has increased to a tremendous level. As you know, the prime mission of any police force is to prevent crime and maintain law and order. However, this is easier said and done because in the age of digital and social media platform, police forces are facing increasing public expectations, security, and also there are gradual changes in crime profile and non-crime related activities. And what we are noticing that both criminal activities and interactions with citizens have moved to online. Therefore, police forces and any law enforcement agencies must learn to harness digital technologies for effective police public service delivery. That is why today we have a very powerful and crisp presentation from Mr. Nilesh Garodia, Pre-Sales Leader Systems Engineering Partner and SI India VMware. After his presentation, we will have a power pack panel discussion in which senior police officials from different parts of the country will share their views on digital transformation of policing. Now, without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Garodia to give his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Garodia.
Thank you for inviting me, and really honored to be part of this particular elite panel. So in the next few minutes, what I'll cover is what is the VMware technology vision, and then how we can be useful, to the police forces and the digital initiatives which are there from the technology perspective, and help them to seamlessly deploy the applications, and not only deploy but access that application securely, right? So to start off, I'll tell you about the VMware vision. Okay, what we stand as a company. So we say that you should be able to access any application, and not only access but deploy any application on any kind of a cloud, right? So whether it is a public cloud or a private cloud, or if you're working within your own data center itself, you should be able to seamlessly deploy the application. And not only that, you should be able to access that application very, very securely wherever you are, using any kind of a device, right? So including the tablets and the phones and the rugged devices and even the PCs. Now, we did a survey. In fact, IDC did a survey in 2019, and what they actually found out was that over the next 5 years, okay, there will be more than 500 million applications, okay, which will be developed, right? And those applications will be, more than the total number of apps which were built over the last 40 years, right? So that is the kind of digital transformation which we are talking about. And no government department or from the business side is untouched, right? Every business, every citizen service is basically relying on digital transformation to provide better services to the citizens. So obviously police force also is not untouched, and that is where we see a lot of new applications being delivered and deployed, right? And that is where the CCTNS application also comes into perspective. Now what I'll do is I'll take a pause here, and we'll take a poll to find out like what are the major challenges which you are actually facing on the field, so that we can cover it from a technology perspective, and try to see whether the technology will be helpful to overcome those challenges, right? So if we can have a poll and the answer to what are the challenges which are there. So Ankush, did we get the answer? Okay, so I think you guys are spot on, and that is what I'm going to cover as a part of my presentation as well, right? In terms of how do we mitigate the challenges as far as connecting the police station to the application? How do we mitigate the challenges of accessing that application on any kind of a desktop? And obviously, how do we make it secure by design? Because security is obviously paramount, right? So this is what we see as requirements of a great application. The one is obviously the design itself, which says that simple to use, extensible and configurable. It should be again very rich in terms of providing the information which is required, like search and query which is there, data integration and standardization in terms of data, secured storage, so data at rest and data in motion, and security all across, and also security for the unstructured data, right? And whenever you are disseminating information, again the mechanism has to be very secure, right? So it has to be a simple interface, accessible everywhere, and would say that it has to be secure by design. Now, when we want to deliver, a great application experience, we at VMware believe that these are the three core components of delivering a great application experience. So first is the robust infrastructure, right? So the infrastructure should be such that, the application never fails, right? And it should support the requirements of all the components which are required in terms of the storage, in terms of the network and the compute. And it should be configurable very seamlessly with a single and reliable management tool, right? So that's the first component. The second is what also was spotted in the poll, is that the network has to be always available, right? And you should be able to connect to the application all the time. And third is ubiquitous access, which means that you should be able to access that application from any kind of a device, whether it's a rugged device, whether it's a mobile device or a laptop. And security should be built in, not bolt on. It should not be an afterthought. It has to be built, within whatever you do, whether it's the infrastructure or the network or the access. And it should also manage, a seamless lifecycle automation, right? So where does VMware come into perspective, right? Number one, yes, we do have technology which can provide you the robust infrastructure, and that is what we call it as a VMware Cloud Foundation, right? VMware Cloud Foundation is a software-defined data center technology which can help you to deploy your compute, network, and storage, by using a single management console, and make your application work on a robust infrastructure, right? So whether you are running virtual machines or whether you are running modern applications, right? So some of you said that deploying container-based modern applications also is a challenge. So if you want to deploy, modern applications very seamlessly and make your compute, storage, and network software defined, that is what, the VMware Cloud Foundation does. And that is our answer to, the robust infrastructure challenge, right? So it is a platform. It's a software platform which allows you to port your virtual machines and containers, and also your modern apps, and also deploy, the microservices based architecture very seamlessly, where everything is, software defined and managed by a single management console. The second piece is, how do I make the network always available, right? And use any kind of a last mile to connect to my application very securely. So the answer to that is a software defined WAN, which means that whether you have a broadband, whether you have a dongle, whether you have an LTE, or whether you have an MPLS, in the police station, okay, you should be able to, access your application from anywhere, right? So what is SD-WAN, right? You can bring your own bandwidth. So that's the number one feature of SD-WAN. So whether you are using an LTE or a broadband or even a dongle, you should be able to do that. Dynamic load sharing. So in case if your network is not working up to your expectation, SD-WAN has a feature functionality where it can actually share the load across available networks, right? So example could be a dongle and a broadband, and based on what is best performing at that point in time, it will actually use that particular network, right? If it's browning out, it also detects that very seamlessly and provides you the remediation. And in case even the link performance is degrading in terms of packet loss, it can actually detect that and forward the application across whatever best link is available at that point in time, right? Not only that, it is completely application aware, and it has policies which can be applied to that particular application itself. Also, it has the centralized management, so it can be managed from a single management console, and it gives you a complete report of how your network is performing, right? So if you ask me the connectivity challenge in terms of last mile being not available, not performing up to your expectations, bring your own bandwidth and securely connecting to the application, then SD-WAN is the answer, right? So it helps you to increase the reliability with any kind of, a link or a provider. It implies AES 256-bit encryption. So ideally, you don't have to worry about the security. And it also, helps you to use your internet effectively, right? By eliminating any kind of backhaul which is there, and use internet effectively and securely to connect to the application which is there in the data center. The third piece is, your ubiquitous access to any application. So we say that the first piece where you can deliver applications on rugged devices and mobile devices very, very securely and in a very, very seamless and simple manner, right? So consumer simple and enterprise secure. So if you have any modules for the CCTNS and the CAS application which has to be deployed on a mobile device and access, you can actually publish that application, on as a workspace, and you can access that application on any kind of a mobile device, right? Not only that, in case if there is a need to manage the endpoint in terms of iOS, Android, or Windows 10 or any kind of rugged devices, the workspace solution also allows you to manage those endpoint devices. Apart from that, if you have your PCs or desktops or thin clients where you want to access the CCTNS and the CAS application, you can actually access that application on any kind of a device, including a desktop or a thin client. And this is secure by design because the application runs in the data center and the data does not leave your data center, right? So what you send from the endpoint to the application is keyboard strokes and mouse clicks. And what the solution in the data center sends to the endpoint is just screen updates, right? So apart from that, your data does not leave your data center, and you actually work on the image of that application while it is hosted in the data center, right? So that's what the solution, which is the virtual desktop, and we call it as Horizon. So the VMware workspace solution comprises of, the mobile device management, and then you have the UEM, which is the unified endpoint management, and then the virtual desktop, which can publish applications, from the data center itself. And that is what Horizon is, which gives you desktops and apps from a single platform securely to be accessed from end of a device. Right? Now, if I bring it all together, and again going back to the poll answers which were given, right? Number one, how do I manage the connectivity? That is where we have the always on network, which is the SD-WAN. How do I manage the desktop access challenge? That is the ubiquitous access, which is the Horizon. And how do I deploy the modern applications very, very seamlessly on a robust infrastructure? And that is where the VMware Cloud Foundation comes into perspective, right? So all these three combined together, delivers a great application experience. And not to say that, each of the solution has encryption standards, each of the solutions has inbuilt security, okay, which states that it is secure by design, right? So you don't have to add anything additional. The security is built in and it is not bolted on. So if you ask me, as an organization, are you able to provide solution to the challenges which are there surrounding the CCTNS and CAS? So answer is definitely yes, and that is what I tried to present, and that we saw, as a part of the poll, that how do I mitigate the network challenges, that is through the SD-WAN, how do I mitigate the desktop challenges, which is the Horizon, and how do I have a robust infrastructure for the modern application, which is through the VCF, right? So that's what, I had to communicate. We do understand your needs and the application needs as well. And based on that, there is a ready-made solution which is available to be adopted. So that is what I had to convey. I think, thank you for your time. So over to you, Ankush.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Nilesh, for your in-depth presentation and sharing your valuable points as to how technology can help in mitigating many challenges faced by modern days police forces. Now we will ask few questions to our eminent panelist. Uh, to start with, I would like to request Mr. Ramphal Power, uh, Director NCRB. Sir, as a centrifugal agency responsible for collecting and analyzing crime data, what trends you have observed in last few months in the pandemic situation?
First thing, good evening, everyone. See, we collect data, statistics, basically on crime of two types. One is pure statistics, that is numbers, crime, under different heads, year-wise, basically, and district-wise and state-wise. And that we publish in the form of Crime in India report every year. So that's an annual publication. So like just now we are going to publish the Crime in India report for the data belonging to the year 2019. Okay, that will be published I think within a week or so. Secondly is the real data, real-time data, that is on CCTNS. That's CCTNS, as you all know, is an all India level, project to connect police stations with their state data center, and from state data center we get data at the national data center. And on this data, we provide various citizen-centric services. Like for example, you can submit your complaints to a particular police station online. You can ask for verification of antecedents of employees or maid servants or things like that, whether they have any criminal record or not. Then various NOCs, that you need from police, various permissions for, let's say, rallies, meetings, etc. And for example, download FIR is also one of them, and many others. And besides these citizen-centric services, there are a lot of services available to police officers, like searching for a particular criminal footprints, across the national database, and the kind of crimes he has already committed, or the jails that he has been in, and various other things related to us. Because the entire data related to FIR, arrests, seizure of properties, charge sheets, then court judgments, etc., get embedded into CCTNS at the police station level, and then it is shareable. So one police station can see data related to another police station and make searches and things like that. Of course, keeping security in mind. Now, this project is operational in about 95% of the police stations across India. Barring Bihar, all the states have come on board. Some states like Northeast, they have some of the police stations have connectivity issues because of difficult terrain and hilly areas, etc. So solution for that is also being found out through BharatNet project of the Department of Telecom. So I think once all these police stations and Bihar state, come fully on board, then we'll be able to have the entire data and do various kinds of analytics, and also publish Crime in India reports based on this data. So that will be more recent, I would say, rather than being 1 year old, because we have to wait for the entire year till December, and then we start preparing, collecting data from the month of January onwards, and various processes, training of people who actually supply data across India, and then collation of that data, telling, etc., finding out any mistakes, and then resolving them, and then finally publishing the report. So that takes about 6 to 7 months. So once we have this CCTNS, operational in all police stations, even including the remaining 5%, then we'll have online. Now, the issue with CCTNS, some of them, like though we have been able to resolve a large number of them, but a few that maybe should be more user friendly, in the sense that there are various forms that police officers at the police station level have to fill in. Now there a lot of information has been asked for. Now the police officers don't have this much time to fill in all these details, so we had to perforce make some of the fields optional, and the police officers don't have time to fill these optional fields, and therefore we have incomplete data. Now if you have incomplete data, naturally analysis would be partial. So we have to make these forms simple. Then you have to make this application faster. The database more smart. Presently, a lot of smart databases, Hadoop type of things, they are available. So which makes searches faster, like Elasticsearch, etc. So we have to turn replace with the current data. And if you replace the database, then of course you have to make changes in the application also. So that's anyway, that happens with any kind of technology or any solution, because technology is ever growing. So I think there has been a lot of I would say initiation of technology in police working. Now various kinds of things are being done on around CCTNS. For example, we have database of stolen vehicles in CCTNS. We also have database of recovered vehicles. So they are automatically matched, and emails are sent to both the police stations concerned. Similarly, we have missing children on one side and recovered unidentified children on another side. So there is an automatic match based on various physical features, and then emails are sent to both the police stations. There are various other applications around CCTNS which have been developed, by states individually also and collectively also. Providing CCTNS, application on mobile is also a thing in the offing. Presently, they have to work at the police station on the desktop, but a field level officer would like to, feed data right while he is in the field at the place of occurrence of crime. Presently, he has to make notings and then come back to police station and then feed the data in the application. So the issues are being looked into, and we're trying our best. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Very valid point. I mean, taking CCTNS to mobile and making it more user friendly, and how we can make the database more smart. I am sure our technology partners are listening to you, and they will definitely bring about some new innovations. And there is always room for improvement as the technology evolves. Thank you, sir. The next question I would like to ask to Mr. Ravi Prakash Mehrada, if sir, you could talk about what have been some of the major challenges for policing during pandemic, and how did technology help you overcome it in your state? How are things? And
good afternoon. During the pandemic, Rajasthan Police was using technology in a very simple way, and that was in the kind of passes that were being issued. There were a huge demand for passes, the pandemic lockdown passes. So
right.
Rajasthan Police, we have a app called Top Cop here. It's an app developed by Rajasthan Police, and this Top Cop app has a feature for citizens also. So Rajasthan Police then made some features on that, and people could apply on that, and passes could be issued to the public online. Initially, there were some glitches and there was some teething problems, but Rajasthan, our branch which deals with the State Crime Record Bureau, although I don't handle that, but since I am here, I can speak on their behalf. They were very quick to learn on the job, and then they were able to establish a seamless sort of a system where passes could be issued to the public, and it was a great relief to the public, because there were various kind of passes, and it was somebody is applying from out of state also when he has to come to the state. So these passes were a great help, I would say. Secondly, there were a lot of campaigns that had to be launched, awareness campaigns for corona protection. So these awareness campaigns were launched on online also, and a lot of public, and this was through a lot of platforms, I would say, through Facebook or through social media, and even the Top Cop app of Rajasthan Police has a feature where public, the citizen forum can access these videos and these audios. So this is how we Rajasthan Police came up to the challenge of policing in the Corona period. Having said that, I've heard Director NCRB Pawar Saab, and he's given a very detailed explanation of what we are all doing, and a lot of what NCRB is doing. We in the state, we are going we are trying to implement what the NCRB is directing us, and our SCRB branch here in Rajasthan. A few years back, we were quite behind in CCTNS, but I believe now our SCRB branch has come up to that level where we can safely say and proudly say that Rajasthan is, I think, one of the top states where we've come up to a level where CCTNS, even case diaries, I believe the ADG SCRB was telling me today that even our investigating officers have started writing case diaries on CCTNS. This is, of course, a learning curve, and a lot of our IOs and the police officers are learning on how to use this technology, because the greatest challenge I would say in using technology is the human resource, and we need to get our people to learn a lot of things. A lot of things are user friendly, of course, but then there is sometimes a great resistance to change, and police officers are now coming to realize that without technology you cannot handle huge data, and the kind of analysis that you can do on data now lower level police functionaries are beginning to understand. So these are some small initiatives that Rajasthan Police is doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable inputs. Mr. Tandon, would you like to share your points and how technology in this situation can chip in and play a valuable role?
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, we at VMware would like to salute the entire police forces for a fabulous job for managing this COVID crisis. Clearly, we see police forces as emerge second important function after health in handling this crisis, and it was a great contribution from entire police team, and we are really proud of all the police forces of India. Coming to CCTNS project, we have seen how the CCTNS project has improved the efficiency of police. Citizens are able to access the police services in a simplified manner. All this is possible by adoption of technology only, if you see. And today we see many police departments, they are in discussion with for adoption of technology like big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, drone. All this technology require modern app. All this technology require modern infrastructure. So it is utmost important for CCTNS department to go ahead and modernize their infrastructure and application. Yeah, because I feel CCTNS project in India has reached a good milestone. I think more than 90-95% of police station they are accessing this application. But the next, I think next in line should be integration of this application with various other functions like courts, prosecutions. It should be integrated across all the functions so that citizen is able to get all the services on online only, and there is no need for any manual intervention or either going physically to the police station or any other jurisdiction offices. I think that should be the future roadmap. It should be able to integrate, and for doing this integration, I think technology will play a very key role. All the new emerging technology like analytics, artificial intelligence, big data, they have to be adopted by police, and that can be done, I feel, by modernizing the infrastructure and application.
And somebody also talked about that the next phase would be taking CCTNS onto the mobile. We know that there are security issues, and mobile basically people use for professional as well as personal use. So how is that going to be a turning point?
So that is a very important point, because citizens, if they are able to get all the services on mobile, or even police officers, if police officers are moving on field, and if they are able to do the data entry on the field only, so that will save a lot of time, improve the efficiency, and all that is possible in today's technology. It is very easily possible to manage all the devices remotely. We have workspace solution which provides secure access to all the police officers, and security can be maintained while protecting the citizen data and citizen information. That is possible.
Welcome, Mr. Gupta. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes. Welcome, sir. We have been discussing about the role of technology and its impact in the last few months and the COVID situation, and basically the focus was on CCTNS project. And I would like to get your experiences in last couple of months, how the situation was in Madhya Pradesh, and how through the help of technology or various other modes you were able to tackle the situation.
If we could wholly migrate to mobile-based solutions,
right,
which is not the thrust area in government departments. So desktop-based solutions ultimately more troublesome situations. For example, we are going on with CCTNS. Every Thana will have a desktop, and only the one person will be able to enter information there, and all others would be waiting. This is a great disadvantage. And with desktop-based solutions, again you are going for then broadband, SWAN, or other connectivity issues. Far-flung areas have no connectivity. So basically, desktops should be done away with. If
right,
that can be done, then we can move ahead with great. It can really help us in a great way.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about getting a mic, moving towards the mobile and how it is going to be done. And since Mr. Gupta was not there, I would like to request Mr. Tandon to throw some light on this.
Yeah, so I would add to that.
Yeah.
Thanks for the great inputs from the panel. So what we have done at VMware, and obviously as we are a technology vendor, we can allow you to access any application on any device, right? That's the first piece. So the application which is available on the desktop, okay, can be factored in on a mobile also. Or if there is a mobile application which has been developed, okay, we can deliver that application securely on any kind of a mobile device. Now, while I say securely, I use that word very, very responsibly, because even if it's a personal device, I can actually segregate the personal applications, okay, and the applications which are delivered, for, citizen purposes, okay, on that same mobile device itself. Not only that, the technology can also give you visibility into where that application has been accessed. And in case if there are version upgrades which are frequently required to update that application, you should be able to do it from central location, so you don't have to go and update each and every mobile device. Plus, if it has to be integrated with any kind of face recognition or biometric authentication or a two-factor authentication, ideally you can actually integrate with that as well, right? So I talked about the access piece, which says that not only you can access the application securely on the desktop, but through the workspace, which is the VMware Workspace ONE solution, you will be able to deploy application on a mobile device very securely, seamlessly, and also allow that application to be accessed anywhere, right? On any kind of a mobile device, having a complete visibility into what is happening as far as that application is concerned. So definitely, technology perspective, there is a solution which can help, to meet the challenge which is there on the field.
We have, or rather, I would say, in police working, there's a concept of modus operandi of criminals.
Right.
Every criminal follows a particular style of operating a particular crime. And, when the investigating officer goes to investigate a particular case and listens to what the witnesses have to say, he comes across a lot of information, including the modus operandi the criminals used in conducting or committing that crime. Now, this modus operandi also gets infed into CCTVs. Now, if a similar crime happens, in the neighboring station or somewhere close by, so the police always looks for the criminals who have committed crime in a similar manner, and therefore makes a search based on that modus operandi on the CCTV, and he gets a list of criminals who did similar crime in a similar manner in the past, and zeroes in on the possible criminal that could have been a particular crime. Now, right in this question, I would also like to take this opportunity to mention, more roles technology in policing. We have a central police portal, pan-India based, called digitalpolice.gov.in. On the left-hand side, there is a list of services meant for citizens who could access, and these services are being provided by various state police organizations. So the citizen can choose a particular state and go into that particular state police portal and avail services. There are central citizen services also which he can avail right away. On the right hand, we have a list of services meant for police officers. Like I mentioned, various kinds of searches of criminals, then various modules that we have, made available to police officers. For example, there's one platform called iMOT, that is integrated monitoring of terror cases. Then something called, on coordination among, police stations, by which, they can upload, alert based on various criminal happenings. And any police officer across India, can see that bulletin, crime bulletin, by clicking it, it fetches this FIR from the CCTNS database. So any police station can see the FIR of a case in which he is interested in, which may have happened anywhere in India. Okay, so this is a great facility for coordination. Similarly, many other services. Again, for citizens, there is one more service called National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal, because cybercrime, as you know, is increasing rapidly. Right. There has been an increase by roughly 63% this year over the last year in cybercrime incidents, reported incidents. The unreported maybe even more. So as somebody was talking about, there's no need to go to police station, and the citizen should be able to report such crime online. So this cybercrime facility for reporting crime online has been made available to citizens. And since the capacity building is a huge necessity in terms of investigation of cybercrime training, so the NCRB has also launched a MOOC platform, open-line MOOC platform for mass-based training of police officers and also other stakeholders in the criminal justice system, so that they can all be trained appropriately to handle cyber crimes. Now we also want to make this training in a simulated manner. Like, for example, an IO, like playing game, he has to actively involve himself rather than passively listening to speeches and lectures, etc. So we also want industry partners or business partners to help us in, developing the content, simulated content for cybercrime investigation training. We are also launching a solution called Unify, which would, match the faces of recovered child and the stolen child, and tell which the child belongs to, which place, etc. So
Right.
this facility is also being launched very, very shortly. So there has been, a large chunk of IT applications, technology-based interventions in policing. And as my Rajasthan police friend mentioned, that in COVID also they used technology for making passes for citizens. So when all the departments, etc., are going online, so police, I'm sure there's no escape, there's no option but to go online and use technology in a big way. And in a globalized kind of environment, when we want to compete, with the world, even the policing has to be of world standard. And therefore, use of technology, going online, making things available to citizens on the internet, those are all the things to come, and many of them have already come. So I see a great future for technology in policing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pawar, for such an insightful information. It is really very innovative kind of projects and initiatives that we are expecting in the future. Thank you. The next question is, what are the current challenges you see in collecting the data from all police stations? Is it manual or directly coming from CCTNS application? What are the current challenges? Yeah.
So the first piece is, how do we basically have an interconnected ecosystem in place, right? And obviously we are the technology players, and that is where I mentioned in my presentation, where we can create help you create a mesh kind of a topology network where everybody remains interconnected, any kind of a network securely. Okay. So for example, maybe a Rajasthan police station, which is working on an internet broadband or a lease line, or even an LTE kind of a connectivity, can connect to a police station which is there in Maharashtra. And how do you build a network? Again, they are not on a common MPLS, but they might be using varied amount of networks, right? So that is where our story comes in, where we can help you create an interconnected, accessible, secure network on any kind of underlay network which is there. The second piece is help you design the applications which we were talking about in terms of education, in terms of modern applications, by using the modern technologies like Kubernetes and containers. So we have those development tools which can not only help you to develop that, but also port it on any kind of an infrastructure which you are thinking of, whether it is in the state data center or any other data center which is available. Once the application is developed, you want to have a common software platform which helps you to deploy that application and have a complete visibility onto how that application is performing. And in case if there is a resource constraint, you should be able to scale those resources also seamlessly, irrespective of which data center it is actually hosted, right? So we can help you right from building to running that application. And not only that, I talked about accessing it on a mobile device, but also interconnecting the entire ecosystem by using an SD-WAN kind of a solution. So that is the play from a technology perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Guradia. The next question, yeah. Who provides the budget for the implementation of CCTNS project in state? Is it partially supported by center or state jointly? This question is from Sachin Dighe.
So I'll take it. Definitely.
Yes.
So obviously, when you're talking about modern applications, I would say AI is an integrated piece, right? Even if on a simple mobile device, I get my report, every weekly report on how much time I've actually worked on the mobile and what applications I've accessed and so on, right? So artificial intelligence is, the most important piece today, because a lot of things are happening. There is a lot of structured and unstructured data, and there are a lot of components, which are coming into perspective, right? So it cannot be manual, or it cannot be done by human beings always. So that is where the AI, artificial intelligence, things comes into perspective, right? In this kind of a scenario, it could be right from mapping the screenshots or the images which has been taken and matching it with the existing database, right? So it could be absolutely anything, right? So artificial intelligence definitely gels along with the modern applications. As far as blockchain is concerned, yeah, obviously, because it's more of a solution which brings everybody on a common platform, right? Which is used by many organizations, but ideally I don't have a visibility into how we can apply it to this kind of a solution, right? But definitely I do see a role of artificial intelligence, okay, right from capturing data to processing it, and even doing an analytics on the data which is gathered, and providing intelligent information to the users who are going to use that application, right? So yes, with the modern platform, AI will definitely play a big role. I would not be able to comment on blockchain because I don't have a clear visibility onto what will be the application modules. Yeah.
Let me add to this. I'm Pawar again
Yes.
from NCRB.
Yes, sir.
I think Mr. Nitin was mentioning about interconnecting, various pillars of criminal justice system, like courts and police, and prisons and prosecution and all. So he, precisely that integration is presently going on, and it is called ICJS, Interoperable Criminal Justice System, where these 5 pillars of criminal justice system, that means police, courts, prosecution, prisons, and forensics, they are being integrated in the sense that data fed into one pillar, should become shareable to another pillar, so that there is no need to refill the data again. For example, if a criminal is arrested and charge sheeted by police, so all the details of the criminal, the charge sheet, etc., which go to court, we used to go to court in physical form, and they have to again feed the data in their system. So that requirement is no longer there, because the data is going online, and they would be able to just add to the additional incremental data that they want to add from the court side. So in this system, there's a huge application of blockchain, because somebody was talking about trust. So the data generated from one pillar is not only seamlessly, but also with full trust is transmitted into another pillar. So the blockchain system is being implemented in ICJS. NIC is doing a good job. NIC, which is a IT organization of Government of India. So that is doing a great job on this. So I think all these technologies are being used. Even AI, for example, AI, ML, machine learning, etc. Like in CCTNS itself, I was mentioning about modus operandi. Now, modus operandi, is never exhaustive. The criminals' ingenuity is ever expanding. So they will keep on coming with new and newer methods of operating crime. So you can't really make a drop-down list of all possible, modus operandi, because the list runs into hundreds. And when the data operator has to feed in the data is to find out the relevant modus operandi, keep searching and click and then feed. So it becomes a problem. So that's where the AI or the machine learning, the text analysis, etc., comes very handy, and we are using that on FIR data, which is text-based data. Finding out what is the modus operandi that has been embedded into this text, which is unstructured data, text of the FIR, and based on that, a lot of analysis could be done. So, as rightly mentioned, this machine learning, etc., natural language processing, NLP, and blockchain, all these technologies are being embedded. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir. It's really interesting to know that NIC is doing something on blockchain in this regard, and with in a scenario where we have ever increasing threat landscape, it's quite interesting to know how these technologies like AI, blockchain, and machine learning can collaborate together and come up to a solution and keep abreast with the newer innovations to mitigate the threat landscape. I guess now we are short of time. We have completely exhausted our time. Anything else that our tech partners?
Yeah, well, I think with the technology like SD-WAN and Workspace, it is very easy to have a remote functioning. Users can work from remote site and they can securely access the application. And even with SD-WAN, the network challenges, performance, and security, all three can be addressed. So all the users can get seamless and continuous high availability network, which can be used to deliver citizen services across the country.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all the panelists, all the eminent panelists for taking out your valuable time. Thank you, the technology partners, for sharing your insightful tech knowledge. And thank you all the participants for being with us. We have a very nice time and very interesting updates and thoughts, exchange of thoughts. With this, we come to the conclusion of our panel discussion and the entire event. Thank you to our attendees for joining us today, and a special thank to our speakers and panels for sharing their views and enriching us with your knowledge. We look forward to host you again. Please do share your feedback. Thank you.